Alright everybody, and welcome back to another V Rising. That's right, here, playing some vampire gamage. Last time, we managed to kill off the Alpha Wolf, and we were in the middle of doing some preparation for the next boss, because we're definitely going to need ourselves a tannery. Before that, though, we're going to go ahead and put up some of these other crafting benches, and maybe finish upgrading our last two pieces of gear. But that's it, let's get started. Alright, the next thing we're going to craft is right here. Super simple research desk. Now the research desk, as you can see when you open it, has a bunch of question marks in it. What you're going to need to do is find paper. If you find 50 of them, you can unlock a random bit of research. Or, by killing enemies or opening large chests, you will end up finding books. And the books will unlock whatever the book is designated for. There are armors that you can unlock. There's different tiles that you can unlock. There's different building materials. There's aesthetic stuff. There's rings and magical components and potions. This is your lifeblood here. You want to make sure that you're constantly picking up paper. Later on, that paper gets replaced with scrolls, and then you replace those scrolls with schematics. There are a bunch of different tiers that we're going to go through. So, for right now, let's go ahead and claim our reward. We need to upgrade the Castle Heart next. Very simply, come over here. You can see we need copper ingots. And we're also going to need leather. So we gotta go and make those forges. Alright, our next boss is inside this camp, so we're gonna have to make our way through all these enemies. And there she is.
Winter's come early. You better be prepared.
Oof. She hurts. But now that you know how difficult she can be, there's another neat mechanic that we could take advantage of. What you can do is you can use this nifty ability and it will heal you. However, you're immobile while you're doing it. I could move in any direction to cancel it. It does drain your pool of blood down here, which is rough. If this gets to 0, you start taking damage over time, which is rough. Now, another thing to note is that if you're in combat and you're trying to hide from enemies in order to use this ability, you can only heal up a certain percentage beyond whatever your current health pool is. Meaning, if I were to drop down to say 10 health and I tried to heal myself, I might get back another 10 health, and then I wouldn't be able to heal up any further than that until I got out of combat. Something to keep in mind. You want to try to escape. There'll be a crossed swords symbol here if you're still in combat. Once you're out of it, that symbol will go away and you can easily heal yourself up. Alright, part of further upgrading our gear is gonna be one of these nifty things. And we can come over here to our furnace. And as you can see, with things like this, if we have certain flooring, we can increase the time it takes, reduce the item consumption, all that nifty stuff, but it is all powered by the Castle Heart. Which means if you don't keep that up, your machines don't work. But here is our first copper ingot. We're going to need a little bit of those, and we can go ahead and upgrade our weapons at the very least. And because we killed a bunch of enemies over there, we did get some leather. We can go ahead and make our coat as well. As a single player, you're not going to need to worry about these keys. They're PvP items. that just won't help you. Look at that. Fancy. I like it. Alright, we should have the ability to make our first weapon. Fantastic. Boom. Now, if we go to a graveyard, we might be able to get this ring as well, which would really, really help. Another interesting thing is now that we have the copper weapons, we've actually unlocked the next ability on the sword tree, which is your basic berserker spin, which is awesome. Bam! We just got some decent blood. As you can see, we're going to get a little bit of movement speed and some crit. There are other perks that we can get if we get higher tier, but 42 isn't bad. An interesting thing about the map, if you open it up and you hover over a location, it tells you what items drop in that particular area. Here we have a potential to get grave dust and morning lilies, which are exactly what we need in order to craft a new ring. Our first golden chest. These things take forever to open, but they're well worth the reward. Nice! We just got a sword upgrade, as well as the grave dust we needed. Now, silver is rough to carry early on. It allows you to buy things off the trader, but you need a ton of it in order to buy anything from the trader. Way too much if you ask me, especially since a bulk of the good things out of there, you're just going to be able to craft on your own by the time you get enough silver. If they allowed us to press our own coins, that would be a different story. So you can easily pass that up if you want. However, if you want some of the aesthetic pieces, like there's headpieces in the game that you can only get from the traders. I think one's like a wolf and a deer and like a Spartan helmet or something like that. You can take the silver, but you're going to get a detriment. You're going to slowly take damage. You can't heal during this. You can't transform into a wolf. And, yeah. It can be a bit rough. In PvP, I assume that's pretty much guaranteed death if somebody comes upon you. You can, however, just quickly, boop, and it's gone. But, yeah. We're going to take that with us and head back to base, because we got what we need. Don't be afraid, if you're low on health, to throw that down, hop into some shade, and, yeah. Alright, finally back at base. Let's, yeah, get that out of there. Another interesting feature with the chests and stuff, compulsively counting. Oh, it's so nice. Just moves everything out of your inventory and stacks it up. Saves a lot of time. But we did manage to come back with a book. Right there. Research. Heck yes. Now we need to figure out what we need to make that weapon. That will really help us in this next boss fight. Boom. We need 2 blue gems and a bunch of whetstones. We don't have the whetstones, but we do have the gems. We can get those whetstones easy enough. Just open up your map, hover over a couple of these places, and bam, whetstones right there. Marked it. We're going for them. We did also get enough leather on that last run to upgrade our armor even further. This lady isn't going to stand a chance. Another thing to keep an eye out on is just regular old chests. Sometimes get seeds and other good items, like paper. We didn't get lucky enough to get lilies in the last cemetery, so we're going to try to get some here. Alright, we should have what we need to make our ring. Very nice. And we almost have enough leather to make our next piece. But if we can kill this boss, that won't be too big of an issue either way. And now we can also do this. Bam! Upgraded sword. Already at level... Up. Okay, well... Down, boo-boo. Sit. Stay. Alright, we also have our next two copper weapons. The hammer, this is why it's my favorite. Yeah, that leap forward and slam with the AoE, really nice. And then of course you have your axe, and you have a decent angle, nice swipe. But then, once you've upgraded it to copper, you get a little leap forward with a big 180-degree cleave, which is really nice. It's come in handy a lot. When I was fighting Behemoth, I actually used the axe to defeat him. This thing does some nice damage against him, as well as allowing you to have that extra little GTFO just in case. Another thing we're going to want is the blood press. Now, this item will allow us to take the hearts and things that we've been collecting and yeah, juice them like grapes to make a lot of blood. As you can see, you can juice rats and hearts. I would suggest not using rats, only because the rats are used in other things in the future. Try to save those if you can. But yeah, hearts, you can let those go to town. You're going to want as much blood as you can. Later on, you can change the blood into higher tier items, so always juice them when you get them. After that, you can always make one of these fancy things. Now, we're running out of space here, but we can extend that momentarily. The vermin nest is kind of cool. You're going to need this later on in order to summon the putrid rat, which is a boss. And that will allow you to actually transform into a rat. So having this thing out is pretty good. You can produce extra rats. I don't know why you'd want the giant rats. Cool, it gives seeds. But there's these giant Venus flytrap mobs out there that you can actually kill to get a bunch of seeds. You'll find seeds in chests. You'll find seeds from just breaking down plants. It's probably best to save the fish bones for 1, your first boss summon, and 2, because you're going to need them in most potions. Next, we're going to go ahead and make a grinder. Now, the grinder is super useful. This one will actually allow you to start making brick. And brick is used to make most of the walls that you're going to be putting up for your actual castle. Now, the stone body and the clay bodies, those are usually used to make aesthetic stuff. I don't believe they've added anything as of this recording, anything at all that would be used crafting bench wise or actual functional pieces with the clay. So if you get it, it wouldn't be a bad thing to go ahead and make it if you want to make your castle look nice, but it's not overly necessary to keep a lot of that. Alright, time to give this Frost Archer another shot. Worst case scenario, we get some leather and upgrade gear even further. There's an enemy there next to the Frost Archer, but I think we'll be alright.
Trespassers. No mercy.
gear score makes a huge difference when you're fighting a boss. Got her.
This is the end. So be it.
Yeah. Well, good news for you. It be. Boom. Nom 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 nom. Boosh. And of course, now that we beat her, we should have new abilities. We've learned the Frostbat. Now, the Frostbat's cool because it slows enemies, and if you hit them twice in rapid succession, you can, in fact, lock them in place, which is cool. Ooh, there's a book in this one. Hey, stop it. What was it? Ember chain. I think that's a necklace. We'll have to look at it when we get back. Alright. And with that boss kill comes the ability to make a bunch of cool things here. We're going to get to those. First, let's go ahead and track our next victim. And then, yeah, see if we have all the things on us. Looks like we just need plank. Easy enough. We should have plenty of that. Bam. And there we go. We'll let that cook up. Make ourselves some new gear here. We got some boots and some gloves. We'll let those cook, and we'll hand in this book. What that book do? Bam. Ooh, okay. Let's see what stats that gives us. That one will actually be better than the ring we have. It has higher spell power, it has movement speed, and it has extra health. The problem is that greater blood essence. Now, if we can get enough decent hearts, we can make that. We're going to need 4 of them. But let's see if we can't get that in the future. Alright, there we go. Bam. Boom. We are now 30 with that weapon, 33 with our upgraded sword out. Very nice. Alright, the next location is going to be here inside the copper mine. Now, this place is awesome, not just because you can get yourself a ton of copper, which you can, but there's also a ton of chests that spawn in here. So let's go ahead and loot up and kill this boss. Here's one chest. Ooh, silver. That's another good thing about being inside here. You don't have to worry about what time of day it is. You just go in, no sun, good stuff. Ooh, a book. Garden Decor. Well, that's one less randomization that I have to roll through. Alright, it is boss time. Let's do it.
You're lively for a corpse. Let you smash up all the same.
Alrighty then. Excellent.
Heavy.
And now we get to watch the copper explode. Boom. Another book? What is this? Oh, a vase. Before we leave, however, we did get the new ability. Right here. We're going to go ahead and replace that with this. As you might have noticed, it's very similar to what the boss had. Most abilities that you're going to get from boss kills are going to be the boss's main ability. Now, this one in particular is pretty cool. Whenever it hits the enemy and explodes, it does have an opportunity to hit the enemy more than once. It can do AoE damage, and it does, in fact, add a dot to the enemy, which is pretty nice. Well, we came across this on the way back to base. Wonder how difficult she's gonna be at this tier. Let's find out.
Well, what is Think on your feet.
Got her. The awesome thing about the bosses in this game is if you come across one out in the open world, there's no particular order you have to do them in, so you can just challenge yourself to take them on. If there's a skull by their name, however, you might not want to challenge yourself and get out of there as soon as possible. Most skull-covered V-blood beasts are usually gonna one-shot you. But now that I've recovered my silver, let's take a look at what we got. Bam! We get to fire 2 of those. Does the same thing as the fissure. And we'll, do a little explosion, put a dot on them. It's pretty nice. Now, finally made it back to base. Alright, let's start putting things away. We got ourselves a ton of copper. which is really going to come in handy. We are pressing our first greater blood essence, which we can use to make that necklace. Looking forward to it because gear score increases. And then we can go ahead and track our next boss right here, which is going to give us the ability to make the wood workbench. Bam. That's going to give us the ability to make crossbows and fishing poles. This thing here is just an aesthetic piece. And then, of course, painting frames, self-explanatory. But we also need to make ourselves the cape. Bam, there's the cape. It flows so nicely. I love the look of all of these. Look at it just swing around there. Nice. After that, we picked up a ton of books. So we got the silver resistance potion. And we've got a vase. And we've got some garden decor. I think we might actually have the items to go, or enough paper to randomly roll one. So, yes we do. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get an armor piece or another weapon upgrade. Bam. Nope. We got a gravel path, but that's one more out the way towards getting some new stuff. So let's keep moving. Alright, looks like that greater blood essence has finished. We got all the other items in our inventory. Bam. Time for another big upgrade. Accessories like the necklaces and rings and stuff are always going to be some of your biggest upgrades besides the weapon. Awesome. Very, very nice. Sitting at 33 with our copper weapon out, with our malicious copper weapon out, 36. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thank you so much for stopping out. I greatly appreciate you. If you're over on Rumble, you're seeing this a day early. If you're over on YouTube, it's a day later. But I still appreciate all of you. And make sure that you get in on those giveaways before you head out. As always, though, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, stay healthy out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.